And we are live.
Wonderful. Well, good morning, Mortgage Coach community. This is actually a very exciting day. Dave Savage, my dear buddy, turned it over to me today, which is very exciting. We had a conversation after Mastermind Summit last June where I had the dear pleasure of having Stacia Weishaar on an all-women's panel. It was really an exceptional day. And Dave asked me if I'd like to interview someone for the Mortgage Coach community, and it was a hands down, absolutely. Stacia, I'm so excited that you're here. I've had the extraordinary pleasure of having you in my Mortgage Mastermind Elite group for the last year and being your coach and watching your growth and your focus and your determination and the way you lead your business as a professional mortgage originator. You're a mom, you run a nonprofit, I mean, you're a wife, you're a busy originator, and everyone in our MME group is always like, we want to be like Stacia. So I'm excited because you have so much to share, and I just want to welcome you, and I'd love to have you just introduce yourself a little bit, tell us a little bit about your story. You have not been in the business that long, and to have the level of success that you created in such a short period of time is really extraordinary. So welcome.
Oh my gosh, Cindy, that is, wow. I kind of want to cry after that introduction. Thank you. And take a nap because I am busy and tired. Hi, everybody. It's such an honor to be on here with Cindy today. And thank you, Dave, for the opportunity to speak with Cindy today. This is just very exciting. So my story is a little unique in that I kind of fell into the mortgage industry by accident, and that was almost 2 decades ago. I will age myself a bit here. I bought my first home, and my experience was pretty terrible, actually. My agent was not competent, really, and my loan officer was even more incompetent, which was shocking. And I decided to leave my job at Microsoft and go into the mortgage business just to educate myself after I bought my first home. That kind of inadvertently turned into a few years of being a manager of a joint venture, and recession hit, and I looked at my husband and said, what have I been doing for the last few years? I had to go back into tech. So I did, and then I had my beautiful children. I have 2 boys that are amazing. I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. They are the love of my life, including my husband. A shout out to him today because it's our anniversary. Happy anniversary, babe. I hope you're watching. And I went back to work. I was working at a startup at the time. And after having my first child, and my business coach, I've always had coaches like Cindy. And I will say, Cindy will be my coach for the rest of my life because she has changed my life in so many ways. It's very true and sincere, makes me cry. And I went back to work, and my coach just said, you don't seem like you're very happy. And I said, listen, I have more joy in my heart than I've ever had because I have this healthy little boy, but I don't really love what I'm doing. And so she gave me a book to read called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And I read this book, which literally changed my life. I defined my why, which is my why personally is and professionally. I do not have a hard line between who I am within my personal life and my professional life. My why is everything that I do is about cultivating and building relationships with a foundation of being transparent so that everybody I love, like, and know is safe. Safety is a big piece of who I am. I almost died when I was 6 years old. Plus, my mom was always a flight attendant, so she was always like, hey, in a restaurant, where are your exits? I always knew where my exits were, right? So safety is a big piece of who I was, and being transparent and telling the truth. I always believe the truth always comes out. So I went back to my coach. I said, here's my why, but so what? What's that to do with my life? And she looked at all the jobs I had had, and she said, you need to go be a loan officer. And that was in 2016. And I was a loan officer for only 6 months when I went in originally. And I said, you're crazy. I'm not doing that. But I listened. I went back to my husband. I said, I'm going to go back in the mortgage industry. And he said, I don't think that's a good idea. I said, no, this is my calling. This is what I want to do. And I did. And that was 2016, middle of the year. And it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I love what I do. Truly love what I do, and super passionate about our industry, and being really thought-provoking for our clients or for our referral partners, really bringing value to them. So that's my story.
Well, thank you. I want you to go back about your why, because I remember when you first told me your why, and it really, really touched me. And we talk a lot. We hear people on stages. I talk about it with my coaching clients, really discovering your why and your greatest strengths. But share your why again, and then just share a little bit about why knowing that why statement has really impacted your life and your business.
Yeah. So my why, if you read Simon Sinek's book, which I cannot say enough, just please go read that book. He has TED Talks too. But my why is about cultivating relationships with a foundation of being transparent so that everybody I love, like, and know is safe. That is my why. That's who I am. And he believes it's all based on how our limbic brain operates, how our memory operates. That being able to define that took me a long time. It was not an easy process. It was challenging to really articulate it and put it into words. And then to look at that and say, okay, the mortgage business really fits that for me. I mean, I am maniacally focused. My team and I are super focused on being incredibly transparent, but also making sure that our clients make a smart, safe decision. And how we lead with that is really around education. I mean, I spend 99% of my time educating clients, probably deeper than they've ever been educated before around mortgage financing. And I use tools like Mortgage Coach to help me deliver that, right? I mean, Mortgage Coach is a big part of my business, but around that education piece. The why for my business is really correlated with the why with my personal life. It's almost the same thing. It is my why for our business is we are focused on bringing what I've trademarked as delightful refuge to the most emotional, sizable, and financially impactful purchase of people's lives, period. That is what we do every single day. There are ways we deliver that. It's very, very ingrained within myself and my team on what we do and why we do it.
Well, and the fact that your team is part of your vision and your mission and they're clear, it's such a big deal to bring team together. We create subcultures, in our branches for sure. I want you to speak, because one of the things that I have witnessed personally over the last year in a really meaningful way is we hear all the time that realtors are no longer loyal. It's impossible to gain loyal referral partners anymore. A lot of people I coach don't want to work with realtors anymore. I'm a huge fan actually of finding the right realtor partners. Yeah. But you have really depicted, in fact, Dave and I were talking about it yesterday, saying Stacia's not going to have to worry about going up against Zillow Mortgage or Amazon Mortgage, or you have created such a foundational core business model with your referral partners. So I want to go drill deep today on what your ultimate client experience is. And so I want you to talk first about, I know that you have a process that you use from the very, very, very first call when that client calls in. And I remember when you first told me about this, and it was a wow for me. So tell us a little bit about how you gain trust in that first call.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very specific process. I'm in some ways, I think because of my tech background, I'm very, 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 I never deviate from it. So, lead comes in, call comes in, how I respond to that. I have an automatic signature that goes out. If my agents need to be coached on how to introduce me to that lead, I'll give them templates for it. I'm very systematic. I get on the phone with the clients. I ask them to connect for 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And I have a conversation with them. That call is the first place that I build trust with people. And really, I set the intention on the call. I say to the clients, I'd like to take the next 15 to 20 minutes and learn more about you and your homeownership goals. I might ask you some funny questions. And if you hear typing in the background, I'm just taking notes so I remember everything. And then I'll tell you a little about my story and my journey. And then I'll talk about the process and I'll answer questions you have. And we'll go from there. Does that sound good? And of course they say yes. And always the first question is, I want to talk about interest rates. Yeah, we'll get there. We absolutely will get to interest rates. That's a big part of this process for you. So my questions are not about credit out the bat, about money, about their income, about their assets. I do not start there. I never start there. I ask, where are you looking to buy a house? Where do you live now? What are you paying in rent, or what is your current mortgage? I ask, what kind of home they want. Do they want a condo? Do they want a townhome? Do they want a single family home? I ask what size yard they want. And people think I'm crazy, but what I'm doing is I am taking detailed notes. And if somebody says to me, yeah, Stacia, we really want this 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath home with a yard, and they're currently living in a apartment in downtown Seattle, I'm saying, well, okay, well, why? Why do you want a yard? We have always wanted our Rhodesian Ridgeback. We've always wanted a dog. And if we get this house, we're going to buy a dog. I take that note and I take that and I send it to the agents. And I tell my agents, I'm like, hey, did you know, I know they want a single family home, but did you know they want a puppy? And if they get the house, they're going to get a puppy. So I think it would be really fun to cultivate a little basket for a dog basket. We can do a dog tag. I have an article I send when people move with their pet on how to make sure their pet's safe and registered. So really making it about them, right? And getting that information. And then I start asking about down payment and all the things that typical loan officers would ask. And my last question I asked Cindy, and this comes from a great book that I read called The Go-Giver Sells More. I cannot recommend that book enough. It's a wonderful book. Is a what question. It's not a why question. It's not a how. It's really this. It's Cindy, what is it about buying a home that's so important to you? And then I am quiet because people are processing that what is question goes to a part of their brain. There's scientific data around this that pulls emotion. So limbic brain pulling emotion out. And I really want that emotional reason on what it is about buying a home that's so important to them. I don't care if they're buying their 10th investment property. I want to know the reason behind it. And that question, I get a lot of things. I get, my mom's dying and she needs to move in with me. I can't even tell you. Sometimes people start crying when they respond to it. It's a really emotional question. And it's very important to understand that. We are not just here to spit out rate and term and program. We are here to build an amazing experience for our clients and really understanding what's driving them to do this.
Okay, Stacia, I want to really pinpoint this because this is a huge question. And I want every single person on this call to write this question down and begin to integrate that into those first conversations. What is it about buying a home that is most important to you? So when your clients are calling you and talking about rates, you're saying, we know rates are important and we'll come back to that. But I'd love to get some information about you first. And asking that question of what is most important to you in buying a home, that is a very, very powerful question, because I would imagine based on the response you get, there starts to be this energetic connection. And this is how we build trust with our clients right out of the gate. And I can only imagine why that first question becomes so important in the rest of your process.
Yeah, it's critical. So, what is it about buying a home that's so important to you? And, it's really interesting when you have two people on the phone, the different response between the two of them, right? And sometimes it's the same, but sometimes it's different. And it gives me chills just even thinking about some of the conversations I've had with my clients. I love my clients. They know they can trust me, but that question really kind of is my last question that I ask them, and it establishes the glue kind of around that trust. I've gotten emotional to them. And I am quiet until they respond. Sometimes they say, well, what do you mean? I go, well, what is it? What is it about buying a home? What is it about what's driving you to do this? And the responses are really interesting and fascinating. I take that data and I go back to my referral partners and I say, hey, did you know that they, that their mom's dying of cancer and needs to be live with them? That is a true story about a client. And I want to know that. I want to give that back to my agents because we are a team. And I really see myself and my team as an extension of them as a referral partner. My intention on these calls, I also say to my clients the leads when I get on a phone call, I say, the intention today in the next 20 minutes is really to understand if we are a good fit to work together. I want to learn more about you. You can hear my story, but I want to know if we're a good fit. That's it. And I mean that sincerely.
Because when you're determining whether you're a good fit,
yes,
inherently people want to be accepted. So they're saying, well, I hope I'm the right fit. I mean, it's interesting. It's like, many years ago when I used to actually, I had a script on my computer. It was a really beautiful script as to how to fire clients that weren't a good fit very appropriately. And I remember saying, Mr. Brower, I'm not sure, I think you might be better served by another mortgage professional. And they would always, look at me sort of tilty headed, and they'd be like, oh, no, absolutely. They would beg me to take them. So
yeah,
it's a very good question that, it's a vetting process for both parties, which I think is really, really great. One thing I want to point out to all of you on the call is that, Stacia, for only being back in the business since 2016, I mean, you've had $9 million funding months the last couple of months, which is pretty extraordinary. And before we go on to the next, I want you to drill down a little bit. You've had quite an experience this year. You've switched companies, you lost your LOA. I mean, tell us a little bit about your journey to be able to do that kind of volume with what you've kind of been through this year. That takes a lot of fortitude.
Yeah, it's been a challenging year. Cindy, it can't even, when I say you've changed my life, you really have. And you came into my life at such a serendipitous time, unbeknownst to me back then, both personally and professionally. So without you, I don't know how I could have gotten through it. I mean that very sincerely. It's a challenging year. Change is hard. Forced change is even harder. And it has been very, very difficult. But I believe that the relationships that we've had with our referral partners and our past clients really allowed us to sustain where we're at. This is an interesting time in the mortgage business. It is really challenging to have left a company and come to a brand new company throughout this time, because you don't have access to those 1003s, and you can't just re-app somebody and do the refinance. It's a lot more work. But what was really what got us through it was going back to our why, about being honest, about being transparent, and making sure our clients and our referral partners were safe and throughout the process and throughout change. And that was a really challenging place to go to. It was really difficult to make phone calls and say, actually, we're on hold right now. That doesn't feel good as a producer. We need to take a time out. I'm going to go through some change. I'll let you know when we're back up and running. And you hope that they come back, and they did. The referral partners that we have amazing relationships with that are also a good fit for our team, and we want to be a good fit for them, an extension of what they do from a business perspective. The one thing I learned coming back in was not everybody's your client, not everybody's your referral partner, and that is okay.
That's a huge lesson. Absolutely a huge lesson. Well, being that you funded almost 90 million last year, and that you've had, you've gotten back on track now with pretty significant funding months, clearly you've done many things right. So I want to go back, because this is about creating the ultimate client experience, and you have some very unique touch points along the way. So sort of walk us through what you do as part of your process, because I know you're very process oriented, but you make those experiences very personal. So walk us through the touch points, if you will.
Yeah, I do. We have a string line. We have process. I'm a big believer in handwritten note cards. I hear talk producers talk about this all the time. The challenge with me is I write like a doctor. Like, I wish, as an MD, like a script pad. I have terrible handwriting. So also with a technology background, I use a lot of technology to create efficiencies throughout my clients' experience and with my referral partners too. So, Mortgage Coach, my gosh. I mean, yes, technology, Mortgage Coach, it changed my life when I found it. It's amazing. I also, with handwritten note cards, I use a company called Handwritten with a Y. It is really ink on pen. I can select my handwriting I want, and I have kind of, it's not canned responses, but there are certain messages along milestones when we talk to a client. So if I get a referral from a referral partner or a new referral partner, I'll send them a handwritten thank you note with kind of a message, right? That's consistent. It's all in a Word document. We just click and paste, I copy and paste it, and then I customize it and personalize it. It takes me literally maybe 20 seconds. I mean, it is fast, and I'm all about efficiencies.
Much faster than a handwritten note card, but with the same effect.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it, you know, it has a stamp on it. It doesn't look like it's spam mail. It's very well done. I cannot, that I couldn't live without it. It is expensive, but my time is also expensive. And if I sat there and had to rewrite six times a different note card, that would cost me a lot of money personally. So I spend the money on that. And again, I have milestones on when cards are dropped. I also take some of those notes. I put everything, we have a database that everything goes into. I take those detailed notes about my clients. If I find out they want a dog after they move into their house, we're going to buy them, you know, a cool dog basket that has like lots of little dog stuff in it. If I find out they have a kiddo, I actually learned this from Jeremy Forcier. So thanks, Jeremy. The Bernstein Bears, you know, moving with kids, like, so just making it really personalized for the client, and really those touches that are really personal for them, and delivering that, you know, as a parent, you know, I would love it if a book showed up to walk my kiddos through what it's going to be like to move.
Right.
That's really cool. So things like that are really important along the way.
So when you're doing all these different processes, because obviously a lot of people don't have a tremendous amount of help. So the concern is how do we execute on all these touch points and go get the dog basket. So talk to us a little bit about your team. Now, I know your team has gone through a lot of metamorphosis too this year. Talk a little bit about your team and who supports you at that level of volume.
It's hard right now. I'm going to be really honest. It's been a very challenging year. One of my other LOAs, when we went through this kind of forced change or mandatory change, I looked at both of them. I loved them both dearly. And I said, you know, if this is not, the mortgage industry is not for you, this is the best time to go look at yourself and look at your life and make change. And I support you 100%. So one of my LOAs, whom I love, decided to go into the tech world, and I fully supported her. And then my other LOA, Holly, stayed with me through this very challenging time. And so I have Holly and I by ourselves. And then I have some part-time support right now too. I have a new LOA starting at the end of this month, yay. But it is all about the string line, Cindy. So I have it in an Excel document. It is from the time I talk to somebody to the post-closing annual review, you know, even beyond that, like it is line by line by line by line by line what happens. And it's not, I pull credit, you know, you pull credit, I pull rates. It's not that detailed. It's just what happens as it pertains to what our clients are experiencing and what our agents are experiencing, right? That is really what I'm drilling down to. And that includes, like, you know, total cost analysis goes out. And, you know, I review every settlement statement. We're an escrow state. I review every settlement statement with my clients prior to them going into signing appointments. I wish I could go to everybody's signing appointment, but in Seattle, I would need a helicopter to fly around because traffic's so bad. So my response to that is we send out the buyer side only settlement statement. We invite the agent to join the call. I review everything line by line. It comes back to my first review of the education that I do around what a total cost analysis is, what all these fees are. It takes 10 minutes. I ask for feedback in that conversation with the agent on the phone. I say, you know, it's been such a pleasure working with you. What can we do better for you next time, or for anybody that you refer our way? I love asking that question. Even when I know I'm going to get something that was like, that was really frustrating when X happened. I'm like, yes. And I put notes to that, and my team are going to get better and better. We're constantly turning that flywheel to improve so that we can give you an amazing experience next time, or anybody you refer our way. And that is asking for the referral. And I love it when the agent's on the phone.
So
I can't tell you.
I want to stop you for 1 minute, because that's really, really, really an important nugget. I did it in my own team, is to ask for feedback. How many times do we not really want to ask for feedback because we're afraid of what they might say, right? So people get very concerned about asking for feedback, but it's so great to ask for feedback. And it's okay if they had part of the experience wasn't perfect, because you're asking and you're letting them know that you care about what this experience is like, and you're always trying to get better.
Yes. I cannot tell you how valuable asking for feedback has been for my business. There are things that I've heard that I was like, I never thought about that. And it wasn't something major. I mean, I'm asking for everything. Like when we did this, you guys, it would be great if you guys did this, or it would be great if you did this. Sometimes I get feedback and I'm like, oh, that is such good feedback. That's great feedback because that's actually escrow's responsibility. And I'll be sure to pass that on to the escrow officer. Escrow officers love that type of stuff, right? Because, and I'm not being critical, I'm just giving feedback. I am so very focused on, that string line and the process and getting better and better and better on it. One way I get better is by having a coach, somebody who I learn from. And really shout out to you, Cindy, Mortgage Mastermind, that group of people this last year, not only has that group of amazing producers across the United States become my friends, people I've been super emotional with in very challenging times. I have learned more from everybody in that group, from you, from the professionals that you bring in that are just not touchable otherwise to come in and talk to us. That has changed my flywheel, right? That has made me push my flywheel and got better and better. So feedback is so important. Do not be stagnant in your business. Do not just think you have it nailed perfectly, because you don't. And because Zillow and Amazon and everybody else under the sun is trying to come in and penetrate what we do in our business, they are going to take away some of the market share, and that's okay. I say bring it on, because that level of change and that level of pushing us to be better is only going to make us stronger. Those of us that continuously improve, continuously get better and better, and bring those tools and resources in.
Well, Stacia, thank you, first of all, for the shout out. It's amazing to have you as part of this group and to watch you and your growth and your commitment. The thing that I love about top producers is typically they always want to be better, because they didn't get there by accident. They get there by being very intentional and by being willing to fail, being willing to make decisions and course correct. It's hard because I know you're a perfectionist and I'm a recovering perfectionist as well. And most top originators are. So one of the things I wanted to ask you is, in your local marketplace, what do you think really makes you stand out from the crowd? What's your differentiating factor when you're out in a busy marketplace? You're in a big market of Seattle.
It's very simple. It's our why. It's why we do what we do. And your why, you guys, is not about making money. It's not about because you want to go on vacation. Your why needs to be very, very personal. And if you get there and you understand that and you're able to clearly articulate that to referral partners, to clients, those relationships are unsevered. They just are. They're the right way. I mean, I believe that wholeheartedly. And my team knows our why. My team knows we ask for feedback. They know all of these things that we do, but it's really about being very clear on why I do what I do every day, why I go to work, why I'm away from my kiddos, why I do this. I love my job. I love it. It is hard. It's challenging.
You're integrating your why statement, I assume, with every first realtor meeting. It's part of it's part of your process.
Absolutely, 100%. That 20-minute call that I have with clients, I tell my story. I tell my why, and I say, okay, I so appreciate you being. It's funny. People tell you their whole life story when you get on a 15-minute phone call, and I say, now that you've told me your story, here's mine. Right? I tell them my why. I tell them why we do what we do, how we do it. It is crystal clear. I am so repetitive. My husband laughs at me. He's like, I could say this in my sleep, but it's true. I mean, because it is my why, and I don't deviate from that. And that's what I believe has built my business.
I want everybody to really understand is that's what's building this level of deep emotional connection that you have with your clients. We talk about being able to, secure trusted partnerships.
Yes.
Mortgage coach obviously is a huge part of that. It creates trust at a whole different level because you really are giving them a massive advice in a whole different format that just differentiates you right there. But also to be able to do both, right? You've got this technology engine that really drives a whole different level, but then you've got this emotional component. And one thing I know for sure, because I coach a lot of men, is this is not something just for women. It's really been very, very it's powerful for me to help men gain an understanding of how they can broach into that space as well. I know Hunter Marcourt had done a call for our group, and he's a core coach, and Hunter's an awesome friend. And he talks about those, magical moments that he tries to create in every transaction. And it's by digging a little deeper with each client to get them to open up and create that safe space to find out what's important to them and create that really deep emotional connection, which he swears is a big part of why he's able to have such deeply, devoted referral partners and clients as well. So I think, it's funny, we always talk about the tools and tactics are hugely important.
Yes.
But there's such, in coaching, so much of what I teach is how to show up as the best version of you. And it's a lot of times is how to really tap in to your genuine and unique strengths and your why. But what are your genuine strengths, and how can we shine a brighter light on that in your marketplace? I'd love you to share a little bit, maybe a few things that you're doing right now in 2019 that have helped you kind of tap back in and take your business to the next level. Do you have a couple things you're doing today in this market to drive new production?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Right now, it's all about education, you guys. It's educating clients on what's going on in the marketplace. It's educating on the secondary. It's educating. My number one tool I use to educate is Mortgage Coach. It's part of every single process. It's part of every single transaction. It's education. And it's not only educating my clients, it's also educating my referral partners as well. So, what's happening in the marketplace right now, don't be scared of a recession. Here's the opportunities. So for sure, education, right? On how I do that. I go through the total cost analysis line by line by line. I make sure my referral partners go through that with me as well.
Okay, so you do share your TCA with your referral partners?
Not for a specific client, but I do educate them on what is on a TCA, because I want them to understand everything too, right? And they love it because I'm showing them a TCA. Here's a general total cost analysis. I just want to go through this and educate it with you. So if I'm sitting down with them, and right now is the time to be sitting down with your referral partners, you guys, because you don't have that much time until the end of the year and people go away for holiday. It's going through that. The other thing I use, and I'm doing right now, is the playbook that you gave us, Cindy, for getting in front of referral partners and really giving them value and tools. So again, being a big tech person, I like the playbook that you gave all of your coaching clients to go and sit down and really walk them through. There are tools. Here are marketing tools. How are you managing your business? If you're managing it on an Excel spreadsheet, you are going to be out of business very soon. What does your database look like? How are you managing your database? What are you doing? Are you doing handwritten note cards? If not, why not? This is an easy way to do it. I try to bring the tools I use in my business and give them to my clients or my referral partners. I haven't been back in the business for a long time, right? I don't have this massive database to be just pushing out leads to my referral partners. It just doesn't happen. I will, but right now it's not happening. So I have to give them something else, and I need to give them something of value. And they're running a business every day. And referral partners, you guys, if you don't think they're loyal, you're just not doing your job on building a good relationship with them and being an extension of their team. I bring them tools. I bring them connections. I'm constantly networking. I'm trying to pull different people out that I can give my referral partners. I don't care if it's a tile guy down to a financial advisor, to a divorce attorney. I mean, we need to be the hub of information. I want them to think of me first when they go, what happens when this is going on? Call me. Right? I want to know. I want to be able to give them the information. Or, hey, Stacia, you know about all these CRM tools. Which ones do you think are the best? I want to be able to give that information to them. So, because I don't have clients right now.
In essence, you're there. You really play a coaching role with them.
Absolutely.
And I cannot tell you how powerful this is, because I do it personally, not because I am a coach, because I don't coach realtors. But I do ask the same kind of questions that you do. And we have to understand that realtors are more challenged than mortgage originators right now.
Yes.
They're fearful of what's coming down the pike in their industry. They're looking for new tools. And I cannot even tell you, I just had a meeting with a realtor, third meeting a couple of weeks ago. And by the time we ended, she was just like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Can we meet quarterly at least? I'd like to be able to use you as a filter for some of the decisions I'm making. Be that coach to your referral partners. You know, in our Mortgage Mastermind Elite group, everything that I teach and everything I share in terms of tools and tactics, I always am encouraging you to turn around and use it with your referral partners because they're equally helpful for them.
Yes.
And you create a whole different level of value than paying for leads. You know, so many people, the whole buying leads just doesn't work anymore. I know it does for some, but for most, they feel like, you know, they're lighting their money on fire. So it's a matter of bringing a different value to your referral partners by doing just what Stacia's saying. Be that conduit to meet with them. Ask them questions. I love asking realtors, what is it that you love about, you know, selling real estate? What is it that is challenging for you about selling real estate? How do you market your business? Tell me what's working. Tell me what's not working. Get into a question, roll with them and ask questions. And you don't have to know all the answers.
No.
But help them, you know, brainstorm with your partners to help them build and grow their business. It's a huge value proposition, Stacia. So it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say, you know, right now it's business planning time. You guys get in front of it, pull out your business plan. It does not need to be a dissertation. Get your business plan out, start thinking about your own production, and then go meet with your referral partners and see if they have a business plan. And if they don't, strip down yours and give it to them, right? Give them tools, give them tools on how to manage their database, give them your own string line and help them create a string line. If they need an assistant part-time, go help them find that assistant part-time that's going to help them do the work. I mean, you know, people start asking questions and be the resource for them. That is what will help you. And you're being sincere and authentic. That's the other thing. Show up authentically. If your jam is not technology, which I hope it is if you're on Mortgage Coach, by the way, but if that's not your jam, you know, then figure out what is. Like if you're the happy hour queen, then start helping them schedule their own happy hours. You don't have to be there, right? But help them. Be authentic, be sincere, figure out what really works for you and translate that to them. You guys, they run a business every day. And most people are not good at running businesses, right? I have challenges every day. We all have challenges, that you have things that work for you or you wouldn't be here. Now take that and go help your referral partners with their business, right? They're typically on an island even more so than we are.
Well, and to be able, when you're calling a potential new referral partner, to be able to use that, it's very powerful language. I'm a big believer in how the power of language. So when you use statements, like one of the things I do for my trusted referral partners is I meet with them quarterly and help them create a business plan. I help hold them accountable. I help make sure that they get to their next level of success. I take that role very seriously. That's a huge, powerful statement to get some new realtor to go, my mortgage originator doesn't do that for me. When can we meet? So, you know, I can get a meeting, as I know you can, with almost any new realtor partner by using very similar language to that, Stacia. And by the way, we've gotten a request for you to repeat your why statement again, because I think a lot of people aren't clear on their why, and it's a very powerful statement. Can you repeat that for us one more time?
Yes. So my why is about building and cultivating relationships with a foundation of being transparent or transparency so that everybody I love, like, and know is safe. And then my business why is we are, you know, maniacally focused on bringing delightful refuge around the most emotional, sizable, and financially impactful purchase of people's lives, period.
I love it. What has been for you your greatest professional accomplishment?
Gosh, you know, it's really, it was jumping off that diving board back into this business, for sure. And I have to say, you know, 2000 and last year was a huge blessing with what the production that we did. My team was amazing. Not thank them enough. They were phenomenal, and I couldn't have done it without them. But that was really it. I mean, it was that production. And, you know, I'm not a refinance person. I don't have that database. I just don't. So for me, it's purchase. And I even in a refinance boom, it's still going to be purchase. Of course, I have clients that will help in refinance, but it's purchase. I really connect with people around purchasing their homes, and super important. So 2018 was a huge blessing. This has been a very challenging year, but I will say this, when you get on the other side of change, regardless of what it is, it can be the best thing ever. And it has been for myself professionally and personally.
You are positioned now to have an amazing year ahead. I know that for fact. Like, we know that success is a journey, right? It's not a destination. So what's one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome as an originator?
Oh gosh, for me, it's just balance. I have to say, every day it's balance. It's, you have to be in flow constantly. You need to be in flow, and the way you are in flow is that string line, that production line, right? You've got all of these production lines going down. You've got clients going down, leads going down, loans closing, but it's being in flow on all of that. And for me, being a mother of 2 young kids, it's really hard to balance that. I have an amazing amount of help with my husband and our aunt, who is our nanny. I also have a nonprofit, Housing Solutions for Hope. I'm going to give you a little shout out that we launched this year, which has been a huge dream of ours, which is also another full-time job. So professionally, it's finding time and finding flow. And Cindy knows all too well, as my coach, that is the one thing I need is just really figuring out how to find time, not just for my business, but for my family and for the nonprofit, for all of it. It's a lot. So
one thing I want you to touch on is, for all these processes and flows, can you go a little deeper, drive kind of to the underbelly of how you participate in communicating? I mean, how much of those touch points do you communicate?
Yes.
One of the things that she hears me, beat over the head all the time is let it go, teach and empower others.
Yes.
And, letting go is, one of the most difficult challenges. I had 4 coaching calls yesterday, and every single one of them, I'm just having a really hard time letting go, because they feel they're going to lose something if they let go. So what do you actually let go of versus what you feel you need to touch?
I will say Holly is my LOA. She's amazing. I can literally take a file. I'll have the initial phone call. We'll get the application. She can look at it. She can come back to me and say this. I'll look at income. I'll look at assets. We'll talk about setup, but then she runs with it. I do not get in her way. I don't. My conversation is to the client about, strategy on the property that they're buying, or if they're doing a refinance. My conversation is with the realtors. I am very involved up front, super, super involved. My boss has this analogy. He's like, look, I'm the dentist. I'm always here, but I'm not necessarily going to floss your teeth. And that's kind of how I've approached my business. I am there. I know everything that's going on. I see all of our pipeline. I know what's happening with loans. I'm involved in them. I understand if there's a problem, I'm going to step in. But otherwise, I know Holly and my amazing processor, Chelsea, they have it. They've got it. They're doing it. I'm there just to understand what's happening, right? So if my phone rings, I can say, yep, it's in docs, and we'll have docs out today. But
how often do you do a pipeline review with your team?
Oh, daily.
Okay.
Daily, and it's fast. It's not a 30-minute call. It's just what's going on. Here's what's hot. Here's what's not, here's what's not a priority. Sometimes I'll prioritize Holly and say I need these 5 things actually done this morning, and then move on to your list. But that's because there's 2 of us right now, so it's a little bit challenging. But I am very involved in the front end with the client. I go through the total cost analysis in detail. That is not her job. I talk about rate. I talk about product. I talk about, strategic advice around what I would do for a specific property and why. I am updating that total cost analysis through Mortgage Coach on Saturday at 7:00. Never fails. I do it on my cell phone because I'm out to dinner with my family. Text that over to the client. They look at it, pull it up. Great. Boom. Have a 5-minute conversation. They're done. Once my clients are actually making an offer on a property, it's easy because I've done all the work up front. Then they get into process. Holly takes over everything. She also does the pre-approval stuff, disclosures, all of that. I don't do any of that. My team and I both do total cost analysis. We're all very fluid and fluent on Mortgage Coach. And then at the end, when a client closes, I go through that settlement statement review. I do the annual reviews. I call my clients. I do 30-day. I'm going to start doing 30-day touch points. Thanks to Dave, when he came on to our coaching call last week, we had awesome call with him and his trainer. It was amazing. Amazing. Thank you, Cindy, for that too. Always bringing rock stars to come talk to us. So it's just, I'm there as the advisor. I'm there as talking to them. I do call my agents. Cindy wants me to let go of this, but I love this part of it because this is really when I'm like talking to my friends, because my agents are my friends. So I call both sides. My day to call it's customer service calls is every Friday. Call both sides, both a listing agent and selling agent every Friday. And then I call my clients too. If there's a milestone, I let my appraisers, or I let my agents share the appraisal news with their buyers.
Oh, I love that.
Let my agents share the appraisal news with their buyers. In a market like Seattle, it's really important. And my agents love to share the good news. I'm always like, do you want to share the good news? And they're like, yes, we would love to share the good news. Give them that. Give your agents that. It's one less phone call you have to make.
So one thing, I know this is totally second nature for you, but I want really people to understand that she says she does her touch points on Friday. We did our touch points on Tuesdays. So, I mean, and it's having that system and that process. You know, one of the things that we did on our team, which is very similar to what you do, Stacia, is we all obviously call out touch points on loans, right? To the listing agent, the selling agent, the buyer. We're clear that we have to communicate touch points. But in my team, we turned that into a communication tool, and we called it our communication plan. So when we were talking to our referral partners, we'd say, let's talk to you about our communication plan. If we have the opportunity to work with you, we get so excited about sharing our communication plan. And all we're doing is putting form. Everything becomes a marketing opportunity for me. It's the way my brain works. So the fact that you've got systems and processes, and the thing that I love, and I want everybody really paying attention to, are your roles and responsibilities as the LO really defined? Are your team members' roles and responsibilities really defined? Because Stacia's are. And if they're not, I want you to meet with your team. You know, we can all do a better job. And the reality is to meet with your team, get everybody's roles and responsibilities, create the vision, have everybody buy into the vision, and then stay in your lane.
Yes.
You know, the year I did 200 million in production is because everybody knew their lane and everybody stayed in their lane, and we were like this well-oiled machine. It was crazy. But you're very definitive about what lane you're in. You have learned to let go an awful lot. A rock star. We don't have the ability to settle for mediocrity in terms of our support people anymore, right?
No. And I will say, Cindy, I am super, super guilty of jumping in other lanes. I mean, last year I was like, it was hard. And this year has been really hard, but you know, that my spreadsheet, my string line, is a living, breathing document. It changes constantly. I've gotten so much stuff out of coaching with our MME group where it's like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. I have to put that here, right? Oh my gosh, you know, like Dave Savage on our MME call last week, talking about, you know, the 30-day review, or his trainer talking about the 30 days review and what to do. I was like, that's brilliant. Boom, that goes in my string line. I'm going to start doing that now every single time. It's a non-negotiable. So these things, these tools, and by the way, the 30-day review, I will just say, if anybody's listening, is basically to go back and to take your total cost analysis and help your clients, you know, if they've got mortgage insurance, show them that market growth and say, okay, you guys, remember, you're going to put an extra $50 a month towards the principal balance, and then we're going to have the mortgage insurance drop off by this year, right? So just giving them that information 30 days later after they've moved, they've unpacked, brilliant. They're never going to rate shop you guys. You're their advisor.
And they're not going to forget you, which is more, I love. And to be able to share that with your agent is huge. I have to ask this question because obviously you're a top producer, you're a mom, you're a wife, you're running a nonprofit, you're in a very viable, big coaching program for the last year. You've had a lot on your plate. Yeah. You know, I know work-life balance is all about the support that you hire, the way that you train your support. I hear people say all the time, I don't have time to train my people. But my experience is if we don't take the time, we never get off the merry-go-round, right?
No, yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
go ahead. No.
And I also want to ask, you know, how do you, being a female originator, and what's still a very male-dominated world in this business, do you think that's been an advantage for you, a disadvantage? Like how? Like, tell me how you feel about that.
I've never let that influence me either way, really. I believe, I know I'm going to go back to my why. I'm sorry. I know that's annoying, but I know my why is, I know what my strengths are. I know what I'm very, very good at. I know what I'm really, really bad at. I'm very clear about that. It's taken me, a long time to figure that all out, but I know what I'm great at. And I also know what I'm not great at. And so, one of the things I'm really good at is establishing trust and building relationships with people. It's very natural to me. But I have a process around how I do it in this business, and I don't just wing it. I am not that type of person to wing things. I don't wing it with raising my kids. I'm not a perfect parent, but I have a team around me. To kind of go back to your team, and training people, you have got to surround yourself with the right people. You cannot close. I mean, there are some rock stars out there that can do this, but I am not that person. I have way too much to do. You need help. You need help. And you need to be patient. You need to find the right person, which is really hard to do right now. Talent is very limited, but Cindy has beat this over my head. Do not settle. Do not settle. If there's misspellings on a resume, you know who you are.
Next.
Don't hire them. It's not negotiable. You're going to end up firing them in 30 days, 60 days. I have amazing people in my personal life. My husband and I co-founded our nonprofit with an amazing other couple for Seattle Children's Hospital. We have surrounded ourselves. I surround myself with greatness in everything I do. I surround myself in greatness with my nanny. My husband's aunt ran a daycare in her home and had children with disabilities and special needs and babies and all these other kids. She's amazing at helping kiddos and teaching kids and raising kids. We hired her for a reason. She's great at it, better than me. It's no different in my business. Holly's a rock star. I adopted Holly by accident. We got lucky, and now we're married, and she knows that. She'll never leave me, Holly. But my new assistant, no mortgage experience, you guys, none, zero. But I know that she has the skills and has the personality to do what I need, because I know where Holly's weaknesses are. She knows what those are. I know where my weaknesses are. She's going to be the perfect fit for our team, and help solidify that. You have to take the time to hire the right people. And being a woman, I just, my strength is I can do a lot of things at once, but I also I don't multitask, but I can do a lot of things. I can manage a lot of things in my head, but I also have amazing people around me who are doing the other tasks that I don't have the time to do or don't have the skill set to do.
Don't take the monkey back, Stacia. So let me just ask you this question. If your younger sister came to you and said that she wanted to get into the mortgage industry, what words of wisdom or advice would you give her?
I'd ask her why. Why do you want to do this? I talk to people all the time. They're like, oh yeah, the money. And I'm like, what's so funny is, yes, we're very fortunate to be in the position we're in as mortgage originators right now. That can all change, right? At any time, really, with our legislation. However, to me, it's not about that. It's about really helping people and making sure my clients are never going to go into foreclosure or really understand what their risk is. I mean, it's the largest debt service that people have, right? I'm a debt advisor, and I'd want to ask that person why, like, what's really driving you to do this? This industry, if I had a younger sister, I have two younger brothers. One of them has asked me to come in, and I was like, I don't know if that's the right fit for you, but it's about being very resilient. What we do is very hard. If you want to come into this business, my non-negotiables are, I take care of myself every day. And that means I wake up, I meditate. I'm not a meditator, but I have adopted that practice being in this business. I work out. I can't remember who was on one of our coaching calls, Cindy, and she said the number one thing you need to do as a salesperson is work out every day, move your body to be successful. Yeah. Tiffany, yeah. I do my gratitudes. I know what I'm really grateful for. I feel blessed that I get to, be alive today. It's hard when days are challenging. It's hard to forget that. But if I start my day with that, it's amazing. I educate myself. I read. I learn. I'm constantly trying to get better and better. I have a coach who holds me accountable. If you guys do not have a coach, I cannot tell you, like, your spouse is not the right person. Your boyfriend or girlfriend is not the right person. Your boss is not the right person. You need somebody who's independent, but they need to be a good fit for you too, personally. Like, you have to hire that right person to hold you accountable and to coach you to get better and better and better. So take care of yourself, constantly be improving. You're not perfect, nor are you ever going to be. And the day you're perfect, then you should probably hang up that hat and retire. Honestly, just, you're not perfect. And then, really the third thing is surround yourself with people who are great. The MME group, that is greatness all around me. And yes, it's hard to take the time to do it. Yes, it's challenging, but I get way more out of it than I put in. I mean, I get so much out of it. Surround yourself with greatness with your team, surround yourself with greatness with your friends. I constantly want to be elevated by the people around me. My co-founder of our nonprofit, Scott Bingham, he's brilliant. He's brilliant. And I love him because he's so smart. And I'm just like, gosh, how can I be more like you, right? And then the last thing really is be authentic. Show up and do it because that's who you are. That's why you want to do this.
Right.
Those would be my 4 pieces of advice. Yeah.
Well, you do them all extremely well. And I can't even begin to thank you enough for taking your time to share your brilliance with the mortgage coach community. It's been such a delight to have you on the call. And I just wanted to give a shout out to, for Mortgage Mastermind Elite, we are launching my new program in just another 2 weeks. And so I'm super, super excited. And I've got 2 spots left for Mortgage Mastermind Elite. Stacia has been such a gift to have in the group this year, and it's just up to some really, really great things. And, the people that are in that group really become my family too. And it's been such a pleasure to have you part of that group, and so grateful that you're part of the mortgage coach community, and grateful for you, Dave, for giving us the opportunity to share today. And if you like this call, please share it with your friends, and please like it on Facebook. It's just fun to share this information. And I really want to wish you all an amazing, amazing end of the year. We have such incredible opportunity. So meet with your team, get focused, get clear on your roles, make sure they're clear on theirs, stay in your lane, and let's knock it out of the park for the rest of the year. Have a great day. Thanks, Stacia.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.